Thanks, Keith. Yeah, down here on the grid, and as you say, the talk stops now, because now these guys have got to get the action away. And I tell you what, it's the worst possible scenario. I know you've been talking about the weather, but the clouds are really high at the moment, but we've already had that drizzle. There's still a sort of little bit of indecision, but everybody's going dry, look, by the looks of things. Michael Rutter, as you can see, in pole position. I just want to show you how serious these guys are. The guy to the left of me here, talking to some of the officials here, is a guy called Masuda-san. He's actually the chief engineer for HRC. These guys are here in force. They want Michael Rutter to win this championship. Alongside me, on the second row, alongside Michael Rutter on the second place on the grid, Dean Thomas. And I have huge respect, because this man took me round the track this morning, and I tell you, it gave me an experience I've never had before. Dino, how about today? Getting towards the end of the year, it's time to start beating these guys.
Oh, definitely. It's overdue. I mean, we should have been doing it 4 or 5 rounds ago, but, you know, we're knocking on the door every round, and it's just, you know, a bit of luck will go our way, and we'll do it one day, and hopefully it's today.
I hope you enjoyed it, because I did, but I got a real inkling about how physical and how hard work this track is. Fascinating.
Oh, it is. I mean, this is probably one of the most physical tracks in the UK, I think, and because, you know, the fact it is undulating, it's up and down and all over the place, and it is quite difficult, but, well, hopefully, you know, we can wear them down, and we'll be there at the end.
What's the key today in terms of race setup and going for it today?
You just need to get a good start and be at the front. You know, with this lot, you can't get past, you can't get through with this track. It's too narrow, so you need to be up in the top, you know, top 3 or 4, and just hang on. And if I'm there at the end, yeah, who knows?
Best of luck to Dino, and well, I've given him a few extra hints on when I went round with him, so I think he'll be all right. Of course, John Reynolds is 3rd on the grid and right where he needs to be on the front row. You feeling good, John?
Sorry?
Are you feeling good about today?
I'm very fit.
Okay. It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, very fit, yeah.
Good, that's what I man of few words at this time of the day. Sean Emmett, though, big smile on his face this morning. Why? He's on the front row again, feeling like the Ducati is giving him what he needs. Sean, it's good to see you back up here where you belong. What's made the difference this weekend?
We just got a new factory linkage. The Ducati been testing over in Italy, and they ran at the last World Superbike round at Aston, and it's just transformed the bike. We're like a second half quicker than we were last time here, back up the front, so yeah, happy. And
it's been a rough year, and there's been a lot of bad publicity, but now's the time for you to show that you're still as good as you ever were, and worthy of any ride anywhere in the world.
Well, that's it. I mean, the bikes, we've had problems with some of the tight and twisty circuits, but when it's good, you know, I'm good, and you don't lose talent, so just going to keep going, and yeah, looking forward to it.
From where you are, muscle it up the front there into the first corner, because then they've all got to go around the outside of you.
Well, yeah, get a good start. Just being the first 3 or 4 would be good.
All right, well, good luck to Sean Emmett. He's on the inside, John Reynolds alongside him. All our championship contenders could end.
Now we're told that Scott Smart is at the back of the grid. You can see there's a hole in that second row, so Scott Smart is not there. He's at the back of the grid. He's going to go off the back. There he is. So Scott Smart's given himself a whole load of work to do as they come under orders. Rutter is going to look for the perfect start. He leads into that motorcycle, and the Sendo Ducati was quick off the line with Dean Bam Bam Thomas, but it was the number 2 bike, and JR launches the Rizzo Suzuki, but no, through goes the Virgin Mobile Yamaha. Was that, well, it might have been Steve Plater, is what I'm trying to shout, but there's so many Virgin Mobile bikes out there, who can tell? It was, oh no, it wasn't. Well, I'm blown. It was also Gary Mason that was up there as well, but it was Plater off the front. Steve Plater, bike number 4, did make it up the inside, while I get me Virgin Mobile Yamaha sorted out. Number 6 is Gary Mason, who is in 3rd place. He really needs a result here. Gary Mason has been looking forward to a result all year long on that motorcycle, but no doubt about a leader. As round the outside goes Rutter. Does he? No, he doesn't. Gary Mason holds that 3rd place from him at the moment. Still Reynolds out front. This is just what JR needs as we come to the chicane for the first time. They've been round Shell. Well, you've got to say, Neil, JR did that absolutely perfect.
You can see how determined he is on that Rizzo Suzuki, but the 2 Yamahas up there, I suppose a little bit of a surprise, but great to see number 4 Steve Plater back on form. He won a race here a couple of years ago on the R1 Yamaha, so he does like the open flat track, but it's just good to see him back to fitness and up to speed. He qualified well, the best of the Yamahas in qualifying. The other Yamaha that's normally at the front is Tommy Hill. Of course, he qualified down in 18th position, but I was speaking to him just before the start of the race, and he says, my elbows will be out, I'll be going for the best start of the season.
Well, Gary Mason had a right struggle in qualifying. He was only down in 12th place in qualifying. He had a front fork problem. They slotted another set of forks in the motorcycle now. And look where he is. He's up into 3rd place. Still JR, though, at the end of this first lap, that's got a good old lead on Steve Plater on bike 4. 6 is Gary Mason. 3 there is the Asian Plant Honda. And that is Michael Rutter. And he don't want to be finishing down in 4th place. He's been hounded out by the Ducati, the Monster Mob Ducati of Sean Emmett on bike number 5. There is Emmett zooming into view as we disappear through Old Hall, onto the avenue, down towards Cascades Corner now. Glenn Richards, we got a shot of Glenn Richards on the Hawk Kawasaki, but it's all about my mover and shaker here today is Gary Mason, really. Gary Mason just has not had what a result this would be if he can make a podium. I'm certainly willing him on.
Well, Gary's always been knocking on the door of Rostrums. He hasn't quite made it onto even the third step of the rostrum, but he's always knocking on the door. He got some form this weekend, but Michael Rutter's spanner in the works. There's another rider returned to form. Number 5 there, Sean Emmett on the Monster Mob Ducati, and we know he's had the taste this weekend, qualified on the front row. He's caught Michael over that first lap, and that could, well, not spell disaster, but certainly a spanner in the works if he can get past Michael Rutter.
I'll tell you what, John Reynolds set the fastest lap on lap 1, 1:43 from a standing start. That's not hanging around from a standing start for sure, but Reynolds really now, they're going to have a bit of a go at reeling him in. We looked then at the Monster Mob Ducati of number 5, Sean Emmett. Well, he was almost sacked. You heard me say at the beginning of the show, he was almost sacked here by Paul Bird at the beginning of this year in Oulton Park, and well, they say they've not done much to modify the motorcycle, but certainly they must have done something to modify Sean, because he's having a good ride round here now.
Well, we know start of the season Sean was a championship favourite. It didn't quite work out well, and yeah, you mentioned the sacking. It was because he pulled in race 2 of the round here earlier in the season, just saying that the bike wasn't rideable. He says they've got a new rear linkage. Whatever they've done, it's helped him, and he has been getting back to form, and hopefully this weekend he can get back in the rostrum. But these 2 Yamahas, they're going well.
Wow, it's Glenn Richards I got my eyes on. He's just got in front of James Hayden, so Glenn Richards is on the move at the moment as well. Watch for the Hawk Kawasaki, there he is, he's through. So Richards comes through in 6th place at the moment, and down towards Cascade 75. Here's Glenn Richards, and remember at Cadwell Park he was right there, but his arm, left arm, just started to fade away, and the fact that he can't yet straighten his arm right out meant that he had to put all the weight on his right arm, and he ended up with the muscles pumping up in his right arm, and it was actually his...
Oh, moment there for Steve Plater.
Plater's given that away to Michael Rutter, so Rutter has slotted through on Plater as well now. Gary Mason is still in front, but Steve Plater just dropping back very slightly. Let's take another look at this. So through goes Rutter, now chasing down Gary Mason, who's in 2nd place, and that was a big one through Ireland, and that was the big crash he had here, if you remember, last year. Had a massive off there last year.
And he crashed there earlier in the season with Craig Coxwell on the V-Trans Honda.
In fact, that was the one I was talking about.
Oh.
We're getting to the end of the season, and it seems like a long time ago.
But yeah, he only lost a fraction of a second there, but it was enough for HM Plant Honda rider Michael Rutter to get through there into
Rutter.
3rd position. But Gary Mason, he's still going strong there in 2nd.
Up over Clay Hill, but it was Rutter committed to the edge of the curves. He fell at fault at the Knickerbrook chicane yesterday, and went round in the car this morning and took a look at the track. He was a bit concerned about the way the rear end came round on him when he shut the throttle, but no such problems for Rutter on bike number 3 at the moment. The HM Plant boy chasing number 6 of Virgin Samson Yamaha of Gary Mason. Now, I'm not quite used to saying Gary Mason in the front view for some time now, but it would be great to see him get a result. He comes to the line then. Reynolds is already out. Yukio Kagayama now ghosting in behind 75 Glenn Richards. So Yukio Kagayama has moved up in front of Dean Thomas.
I remember early in the season Yukio Kagayama was the winner of both races here on the Rizla Suzuki, but yeah, didn't quite get off the line there. Qualified in 5th, but didn't get a good start off the 2nd row.
I don't know what happened to James Hayden, but James Hayden has slipped right down to 20th place at the moment, so James Hayden is slotted right out of this race at the minute when he was in the chance. Through goes Gary Mason. This is a 2nd place battle being chased at the moment by HM Plant Hondas. Michael Rutter, and Michael Rutter takes a look there because Mason ran a bit hot into the shell hairpin and ran up the hill a little bit. It's a very banked corner. He just took that extra bit of hill to scrub the speed off, and Rutter, I thought, was going to nip underneath him while he went wide for a moment.
Well, Michael Rutter, as usual, dead on line, dead smooth everywhere, not making any mistakes, and that's all it'll take. Look, he's looking down the inside into the chicane. You're not quite close enough. Got a bike down there.
Oh, that's a big off just there.
It's like a Ducati.
So I'll tell you what, it's number 21 that's on the floor there, Michael Penzavale. So Michael Penzavale on the MP Racing Ducati is on the deck at the Knickerbrook chicane.
Well, even if Michael Rutter could have pulled the pass there, and there was yellow flags there, he would have had to use a bit of discretion. Druid's
corner, one of the most frightening sets of corners anywhere. It's a double right-hander, and this is where Rutter just absolutely over the hill now and down towards the last couple of turns on the course. Rutter looking for the braking error, but Gary Mason looking certainly best of the task, while Steve Plater on bike 4.
Fighting back.
Yeah, having a bit of a go back after that moment at Island Corner. Out of Deer Leap then, onto the start and finish straight. Still Yukio Kagayama closing in on these guys on the other Rizla Suzuki. Rutter up the inside then at Old Hall. Well, that's a classic Michael Rutter move. In fact, it's a classic move. Full stop here at Oulton Park. Onto the avenue. Michael Rutter goes into 2nd place. Neil Tuxworth, team manager for Honda there, impassive at this point in the race at the moment.
Kagayama is the man on the move though. He's carving through the field there. Just
Here we go,
looking
let's
here,
have another
yeah.
look. We just got good power out of Deer Leap, didn't he, and put himself up the inside of Gary Mason. Mason on the better line, but Rudder was in the middle of the corner when he got to that apex area.
Still turned it and fired it out. Brilliant passing manoeuvre.
Reynolds still has the fastest lap so far, done on lap 3 now. So John Reynolds just getting quicker and quicker at the head of the field. But look at this, Yukio Kagayama, the hero of Cadwell Park. And it was an emotional win for him in race 2 at Cadwell Park. Certainly he's going to need to do a bit of work here, though, if he's going to get past these 2 Yamahas before his teammate and his teammate's main adversary, Michael Rudder, has cleared off in front of him. 3 is Rutter in 2nd place. Then it's 6, Gary Mason. 4, oil flag out there at the moment. So obviously that bike just dropped a little bit of slippery substance down on that particular part of the corner, the entrance to the Nick Brook chicane. Still Yukio closing in, no. Still Glenn Richards hanging in there on the Hawk Kawasaki, the green bike, just off the back of a slightly disappointing Sean Emmett, I will say. Number 5, Sean Emmett, just struggling a little bit now. Kagayama having got...
This next section, Kagayama strong, out of Druids into Lodge. He's good on the brakes here. Imagine he try and pass on Steve Plater.
He doesn't care where it's dangerous, does he, Kagayama? He just seems to ignore where the dangerous parts of the track are. Druids are the most frightening part of the track if you get it wrong. Kagayama almost down the inside into Lodge there, but not quite able to squeeze
Steve
under
Plater
Steve
on the
Plater.
brakes also, yeah.
Yeah, well, Plater loves it round here. He's had some big crashes at Oulton Park. Remember the Kawasaki a few years ago when he launched it over Clay Hill and down towards Druids. It was a massive beating he took, but he's a fighter. He's Steve Plater. Still, we're looking at 71, Yukio Kagayama. His motorcycle sounds so rough compared with John Reynolds, his teammate. Just crackles away on the overrun, but look at that, the power of it. He just keeps it nailed. He drives straight underneath Plater. Plater had no answer at all on that run down to Island Corner. And that really is a scary place.
Full wobble because the track has Emmett underneath Plater as well, yet still really close to this bunch. The track rises up just before you brake for Island. The front end of the bike becomes light. We saw Kagayama's bike wobbling around there, but he still kept the power on and managed to pull off that pass.
Through Fulson's end, and again, this is where the Suzuki is going to be so grunty up and over Hilltop now. Reynolds has gone through, he's in the lead. 3 is Rutter, through now, well, again, Gary Mason showing that he's not going to give away that podium position easily.
Good job.
Oh, and I'll tell you what, Emmett's actually on the move as well. We saw him go past Plater a little bit earlier, but he seems to be following Yukio as they come out of Knickerbrook chicane and up over Clay Hill now. Glenn Richards a little bit more in touch with the Ducati man in front of him. Glenn Richards bike 75, the green Hawk Kawasaki, and look at Yukio Kagayama lining himself up through these 2 right-handers. He's going to have the power on heavy now, and down towards Lodge Corner. He's going to be looking for the pass up the inside for sure. It'll be a block pass because Gary Mason is good on the brakes. He gets there just in front of Mason, but runs it wide, and taking advantage is Emmett. Well, ever the opportunity, through goes Sean Emmett, and that really was Yukio's mistake. It cost Gary Mason dearly as well.
Gary Mason was a big loser there.
Yeah, big loser. That really has mucked up
Down
Gary
to 8th position, 2nd to 8th in one hit, really unfortunate there. And Yukio just was on a bit of a limit there. No one, unfortunately, off the track. Gary Mason, a huge loss.
Well, Yukio Kagayama, he knew that Gary Mason was good on the brakes, but he was not prepared to show any mercy, was he? Yukio gets a bit of a name for himself around the paddock just lately for his qualifying technique, for want of a better phrase, and 1 or 2 of his passing techniques as well. You can hear that big Suzuki crackling away on the overrun on the throttle when he shuts the throttle. Unlike JR's, the mapping must be so different between their 2 bikes, because John's bike sounds so smooth. Yukio sounds like a bag of tanks.
Yeah, Kagayama runs fairly different setup to John Reynolds as far as engine and chassis and suspension goes. But it's almost like he's not quite back to full fitness now, but he's confident now. And maybe earlier in the season where he was always down the inside of Emmett, not quite close enough.
Going to get Hector, he wasn't quite close enough when it came to Mason, but he didn't stop him any quicker. He still came through.
Well, not at that corner, but maybe Old Lodge will do the same as well.
We'll have
Gary Mason.
Hey, look at the monitor. Michael Rutter, fastest lap on the last lap, 1 minute 37.9. So Michael Rutter in 2nd place, 3.5 seconds behind Reynolds he was at the end of that last lap. Let's take a look at what he does when he comes to the line this time. Monster Mobs Ducati, Sean Emmett, the resurgent Sean Emmett. Good guy, but sometimes the man and his team love to hate. And really, there is Paul Bird in the middle of your picture. Shane Shaky Byrne to the right of your picture, of course, last year's winner of the British Superbike Championship, back with his old team having a look over the fence. And Phil Borley, the team technician there as well for Sean Emmett. Number 5 is Emmett. Well, I reckon he needs a bit of a confidence boost. A 2nd place today would just do him the business, wouldn't it? Well, 3rd place even, should we say.
What a contrast the way number 5 Sean Emmett's Monster Mob Ducati is working now compared to earlier in the season here at Oulton Park. He really wasn't happy. Kagayama on the limit at Cascades.
as he ever is. So Yukio Kagayama looking to try and get the power on out of Cascade, so he has the run down to Island Bend. Oh, I tell you what, sparks flying everywhere from Plater, Steve Plater, then making that Virgin Mobile Yamaha spark off that frightening left-hander that's Island corner, big lake to the left-hand side of the track. Not that anyone's gotten in time to look at that. We're through Shell corner and on now to Paulston chicane.
Kagayama really charging but not making any progress.
Well, watch this. This is where he launches out of this corner. We'll see him now blast up and over Hilltop. He'll come alongside Emmett. It's all a question of breaking down into the Knickerbrook chicane. Emmett on the Ducati is the most stable. And Yukio has to slot back into 4th place.
Emmett good on the brakes. You saw him there last year on the ETI Ducati and he was really strong. Did a bit of barging through there.
That Ducati didn't look slow over Hilltop though. I'm quite surprised at that because it looked like Yukio got the run out of the chicane onto the top straight.
I don't think Kagayama can use the power over there. The front end of the bike's coming up, whereas the Ducati just a bit more smooth, a bit more planted.
Now this is where it all counts here. Yukio gets good drive out the second part of Druids and onto this front straight, but I think so did Sean Emmett. Up the inside comes Yukio though, just as he did with Gary Mason, but I think this time Emmett has seen him coming. Emmett will cut back and look for the inside line, but Yukio is sitting on it, so there's no chance of Emmett regaining that 3rd place. So we have Rizzo Suzuki #1, that's John Reynolds. In 2nd place, the HM Plant Honda of Michael Rutter. The championship is about those 2 men. And then we have Rizzo Suzuki in 3rd place now with Monster Mob Ducati, as you can see from this manoeuvre, slipping back into 4th place. Still there though in 5th place, #4, Steve Plater with 75. Glenn Richards behind him.
Kagayama has been charging on the Rizzo Suzuki. This is the first time he's had a clear track in front of him, so it'd just be interesting now to keep our eye on lap times. John Reynolds just set his fastest lap, 1:37.738. That proves that he can respond to Michael Rutter's charge. And Kagayama really wide at Shell Oils there.
Well, just running up the hill and scrubbing the speed off again. You can see that at Shell Oils. It doesn't look very banked from where we are, but if you go round there, it's quite tricky to run up the track if you're not lucky. That's where Scott Smart had a big off in warm-up this morning, just tapping the rear end of another bike and launching himself up the track, beat himself up a little bit and started from the back of the grid here at the moment. Looking for Smart. He's actually in 9th place in this race at the minute, so Scott Smart on the Hawk Kawasaki, not the kind of race he wanted. He was in 3rd place in the series, chasing Yukio Kagayama in 2nd place, and with Kagayama so far in front of him, that really isn't what Scott Smart needed today.
Kagayama already put half a second on Sean Emmett after that pass, so it'll be really quite nice to see what sort of lap time he can do. John Reynolds, big moment.
That spun up out of Druids. Yukio Kagayama, he had me out of my seat. I don't know about anybody else at home. Yukio Kagayama then, well, spinning the rear. He just does not care, this Japanese, does he? Let's take another look at it, because it was a real scary one. Through the first right-hander at Druids. He's on the limit there. Then there's a little bit where you can relax and then turn it. Oh, that was so big. That was a big one. But I'll tell you what, the way he's got that bike set, he had his body weight just in the perfect position to save it.
It looks huge, but for Kagayama, it's not a huge problem. The rear end of the bike quite light there, and we saw him have a few of these moments at Cadwell Park, but so it's fantastic throttle control and engine management there, and sure it was sideways, but straight back in line before the rise of Druids.
Still it is Kagayama's teammate that leads this race on lap 10 of the 18. It is John Reynolds that's out front on bike #2. So JR looking for, I think it is his 3rd British Superbike Championship if he can get it sorted out. And of course 25 points today. We're going to have to get the calculators out fairly soon. He gets 25 points. If Brother is in 2nd place, he gets 20 points. That'll mean a lead of 38 points for John Reynolds at this particular point. If we took a snapshot now in this series, of course, there are 75 more points up for grabs after this race. So I'll tell you what, JR, he's not going to relax, that's for certain. And he's the way he's spinning the rear end as he goes over Clay Hill, he's not relaxing, but it has been a smooth, classy ride from John Reynolds, right from the change of the lights.
Well, you can see how determined he was. I think on lap 1, he just wanted to get the whole shot, wanted to get away, and especially get away in front of Michael Rutter. But he's still increasing his lead. It's gone from 3.5 to 4.1 on that last lap, so he has responded to Michael Rutter in 2nd place.
There it is, top 5 positions. Reynolds, Rutter, Kagayama, Emmett and Steve Plater still hanging on there at the back of it. So, we want to give a big shout out for the Privateer Cup as well, which is going to be won in this race at the moment by James Ellison. Ellison leads that. He'll get 25 points for winning the Privateer Cup part of today's race. But of course, he only needs 7 points from the remaining 4 races, including this one. So Ellison will be crowned Superbike Cup champion after this race. We will be hearing from him, of course, with Jonathan Green at the interviews at the end of this race. But flames flying from the rear end of the Rizzo Suzuki. JR out front by 4.9 seconds from Michael Rutter on the HM Plant Honda. And really, Rutter's task has just become a whole lot more grave if he thinks he's going to be able to win. And that was a left hand up then. There was a hand off the handlebar then. Is it raining round at Shell? I would suspect, yes it is. I would suspect rain at Shell, and for certain on lap 11. This was declared a dry race, of course, as we started. That will mean if we get rain around the track, Stuart Higgs, the race director, will stop this race. And because it hasn't run 2/3 distance yet, it will be a 2-part dash. We will have an aggregate situation. Of course, John Reynolds is in a lovely position because he has a 4.9-second lead over Rutter at the moment, so it doesn't matter. But I suspect that Stuart Higgs, the race director, will wait for a minute. The, well, shall we say the diminished adhesion flag is out at that particular part of the track. Stuart Higgs won't wait for riders to crash. He will take a decision very soon indeed. If it runs to 2/3, if we get to 2/3 distance,
which is 12 laps,
when the red flag comes out, when he comes over the line, Stuart Higgs can stop the race, and that will be the result. From that point, it means JR will win, and as all the other riders go over the line, he will now complete this lap 11. We are on lap 12. Now, does he need to complete 12 laps, or is that now? Yeah, he does need to complete 12 laps, in fact, doesn't he? Because that's 2/3 distance, so our mathematics working here. He's got to do a whole lap. Stuart Higgs cannot stop this race and declare it a race until after Reynolds crosses the line next time. 6.8 seconds is the lead now on Rutter. So Reynolds is still spreading. Red flag, red flag. Stuart Higgs, in the name of safety, has stopped it before 2/3 distance.